Can I start? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to give a simple guidance on QuarkXpress. First, let's look at a brief preview of today's content. The guidance contains 4 parts. Part 1 is about some operations on master pages, and Part 2 is about principles of composition. Part 3 is about digital layout and HTML5 publications, and Part 4 is about some major features in QuarkXpress 2018. So let's begin with master pages. The figure here is an interface that imports XTG formatted text on the page. Before we start talking about how to arrange these texts, we must first talk about a tool that can facilitate the arrangement of the layout, which is the page layout. So how to open the page layout? First, click on Window at the top and go down to Page Layout in the menu bar and click on it. And then you can see the page layout shows up. And remember, try to keep it open because it will be frequently used. And it will be very convenient to take you to any page when you are editing. This function is similar to a navigation, and you can drag those pages directly to adjust the layout. And for master pages, you can create best pages as many as you want, but try to keep it simple. And here you'll see the logo. In the upper left corner of the page, there is a chain light logo, which is this one, the chain. You can use the chain to manually link individual text boxes so that text flows from one to another without having to select each box. And text boxes can be chained within a single page across the spread or through several pages. So to do so, you need to ensure that all the boxes you want to link are already drawn in the layout. And then select the chain and click on the first box from which you want to link the text. And then select the next box where you want the text to flow. And then continue to click any additional boxes where you want the text to flow. So after finishing, the text on the page will flow according to the text. So, and if you want to change the margins of your page, first click on the page and then go to Master Guides and Grid. Then the windows will pop up, then you can change the page margins. And if you want to create a running header, so first click on Window and then find Content Variables. When the Content Variables pops up, click the plus. To edit content variable, and then choose running header in type, then choose title 1 in source style sheet. After this, you can see the running header on the top. And then let's talk about principles of composition. There are a total of 25 principles of composition principles, and these principles mainly inform the typesetter of how to make a reasonable layout by studying the habit of human eyes on reading the text or watching the graphics. For example, Principle 3 and Principle 4. Principle 3 is about this talk like, I will go to the joining point of 2 lines, for example. These 2 lines. So the eye will directly go to the joining point like this. And principle 4 is I will follow 2 lines that appear as if they will join up and create a center of interest. Like it seems like they are going to across. So um, the eye will, this one will be much more powerful than simply join this together, because the eye may dwell longer than it would have done the lines to join up. So if you want to know more specifically about these 25 principles, you can go to the QuarkXpress TV to learn more. Part 3 is about digital layout and HTML5. HTML5 publications free users to create highly designed app-like web experiences without needing to rely on or pay for expensive digital publishing solutions. And with HTML5 With HTML5 publications, designers can create their projects such as e-papers, e-magazines, web apps, and flipbooks, and store them locally and distribute when and how they choose using their own web server and domain. They work most like apps, just they play in web browser. That has one huge advantage because you are not limited to mobile devices no matter you work on OS X or Windows. So here are 3 steps to convert a print layout into HTML5 publications. First, click the menu Layout and then find Duplicate, and duplicate it as a digital layout, not a print layout. And then preview using the button in the lower left corner of the document window, or export using File to export and then as HTML5 publication. And then put the exported folder on a web server, for example, through FTP. And of course, if you do not want to start with print, you can also create a digital layout from scratch. And if you want to make your HTML5 publication more interactive, add this step before step 3 in between, because this one is open HTML5 palette, and you can add more enrichments. This is about some major features in QuarkXpress 2018. In QuarkXpress 2018, there are 15 new features below compared to previous version of QuarkXpress, and this can be categorized in 3 categories, which is unsurpassed typography, professional print publishing, and unlimited digital publishing. If you want to know more about this, know more specific about this, you can also go to watch the video. So here's the quiz. Okay, first question. Master pages can be created as many as we can, but try to keep it simple. True or false? Okay, true. And the second question is, what kind of tool can you use to manually link individual text boxes so that text flows from one to another without having to select each box? Okay. And that's all of my presentation. Thank you. That was too big.
Monkeying around.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, my presentation is about this application called QuarkXpress. It's very powerful editing applications. So today I will cover basically 4 topics. The first one is how to set the shadows for the text and for the text box. Second one is the line drawing. Third one is color blend. And the last one, that is the fourth one, is round and clipping. And first of all, we're going to the set the shadow part. And you can always say that there's some shadows when you read magazines and newspapers. You can find there's some black or other colors shadows just below the text box or below the text. And maybe you wonder how to do it yourself. Well, in the QuarkXpress, it's very simple. You just select the text box and choose find the drop shadow box at the bottom of the screen, and just click on the apply drop shadow, and you can find the extraction like the first one. But how we going to just set the shadow for the text only? So this time we just to make the text box transparent. So you just click on the capacity of the text box and turn it to 0%. And of course, you can set the color of the shadows just over there. You can choose yellow, white, and whatever classes you want. And this is the very basic skills for the shadow sets. And maybe we want to do some improvement. So also in the drop shadow box, you can find all the settings that may explain to you. The first one is just color with the top block. The second one is intensity of the shadow. And this one is the angle of shadow, the distance, the shadow from your text or text box. And this is the angle of the shadow just compared to the text only. And this one is the size of your shadow. And last one is to adjust the soft or hard of your shadows. You can try it yourself. And with all the skills, we wonder how we can achieve such beautiful expressions like this, like how you get a shadow only and like got this vortex shape like this and this abstract shapes. So even though it looks abstract, but it's still very simple. Let's just do this vortex shape as an example. And first of all, you have to have this shape. So you can find it in the shape maker settings and insert these shapes in your QuarkXpress. And later you just set the shadow for this shape, because the shadow set is just manual settings. It can be applied on any images, text, or whatever atoms you can add it. So later you just change the capacity of this shape to 0%, and you can get a very beautiful shadow only. And do you still remember that shape? Well, it's applied a skill that's called the super step and repeat, which means that you let the computer to do this job for you, to repeat these shapes again and again and again. So you just need to set the angle of one repeat and to set the number of the repeat times, and that's it. So we move to the next part, that is line drawing. Okay, generally speaking, there are two very fundamental tools for line drawing. The first one, as you can see, this pin-shaped icon over there and the pencil-shaped icon over there. And the pin-shaped icon means that you will draw a few dots, and this dot will connect each other at line. And also you can drag one dot to create very beautiful curves at the back. And sometimes the pencil will just draw whatever you want. And of course, when you read magazines, you can all see some kind of text that is right on the curves, and you have no idea how to achieve it. And in the QuarkXpress, it's quite simple. You just choose whatever line drawing tools you want. Just draw a line and find this text icon at the left bottom of your computer and left click it and double left click it on your curves, and you can edit text on curves. And also there's a very important skills that is called the merge and split pass. We just take these two very simple circles as an example. And we can see there are a few sections for the merge and the split. First one is intersection, union difference, reverse difference, you can say all combined. And here's the outcomes you were citing. The first one is if you set the intersection. As you can see, there's two circles have some parts that is merged together. So if you choose that settings, it means it takes this part. So follow the same principles. And second one is union, just combine two shapes. And third one, the difference, just to find the different part of these two shapes. We move to the colorblind part. Maybe this is the most interesting part I've ever read about it because it can be applied to text and make it more colorful and more attractive. And settings is also very simple. You can just find the colorblind at the top of the screen and choose whatever angles you want. Let's say XL, radio, and diamond. It will change the shapes of your colors. I'll give you some examples later. But maybe you're curious about what this arrows means and how it will influence your design. Well, let's just take this white angle as an example. If you drag these white arrows to the right side, you can see that the white part is extended to the right, even though it's not very clear, but it's extended in reality. So if you want to change the entire color and the contrast of it, you just drag these two arrows. And of course, if you just click on just nothing else on this bar, it will create an arrow instantly. And you can change the colors of it and add some other colors. So with these functions, you can create all this kind of text for yourself and maybe apply it in your newspaper and magazines. So we move to the last part, that is the run-around and clipping. And when you read some kind of magazine, you can always see that there's some kind of pictures at the bottom, left, top, that leave enough white space for the text. But I don't know whether you can see it clearly. There's some kind of blue skies and white cloud over there. So if you just print it out, you can see a very clear the contrast that when there's an image over there, you can see some kind of blue colors over there, and there's some. If there's no images here, it's pure white. So the contrast is very clear and very ugly. You won't want it. So you just find this settings called clipping at the bottom of your screen and just choose the non-white areas. It means we will click all the non-white areas for you, and then you can start to edit your text on these photos. And the first step you will do like this, but still it's not acceptable in the modern editing environment because all these kinds of areas will influence the reading fluency of your readers. You're not pleased with this. So the choice is, first of all, you need to divide it into two columns. And secondly, maybe to invert this picture to make most of the text at the left side of the screen. But still you can find that the sum of text over there is not included in this part. So next thing you need to do is to find the tool that we just talked about, pencil icon, and to select all this text that is not included in that part, and select to none. Still the atom, left click atom, and you will see that it disappeared from the right side and to the left side. Now it is acceptable. And for this some white area, you can add some headlines or hammers for you, and to help the audience to get the main idea of your article. All right, first we have a Q&A session. We just take this as an example. Is anyone who have any ideas how we can achieve this kind of expression with the skills we just taught? Anyone? Right, I will answer myself. First of all, you need to draw a text box and insert some kind of characters in there. And if you want to achieve this pattern that is very simple, just use one skills, that is the color blind. You just add white color, red color, blue color, and red again, blue again, red again. And you just adjust the location of all these arrows we just talked about, and you can achieve this kind of very unique character expressions. So, is there any questions? Oh, thank you for listening.